My hair is so long. My God, it's like
Yeah, and everybody sees your beautiful hair. Can you hear me? Hello, everybody. Good evening from Amsterdam, the Netherlands,
I
and good morning from New York with the one and only Carla Rose. So, welcome, Carla. Before we start, so actually, welcome to the Rendezvous with Present Moment, and this is the live stream where we connect you with beautiful people from around the world, having the intention to inspire you and offer ideas to help you thrive mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and in your business during demanding times. And today we're going to talk about mental health during Corona times. And I have a wonderful lady, Carla. And Carla has more than 2 decades that she has been working with clients on their patterns and focus with great success with behavioral change, as well as clients learning how to maintain their gains and use the tools to stay mentally healthy. And she's a licensed clinical therapist for the past 26 years, provides medical health counseling both privately and in a clinic setting in New York. And in addition, she has been involved in the personal growth and development field for the last 30 years. Over the past 10 years, volunteering as a senior leader with Tony Robbins, supporting many seminars, and she holds an MBA in organizational behavior, using to assist corporate clients with strategies to improve interpersonal relationships and ultimately the results. She's a cool lady, marathon runner. So welcome, Carla. And we have here um, a thing that we do. It's like a ritual, small ritual. Before we start, we center, and then people have time to come and join us or continue their scrolling, whatever they want, but we connect with each other, okay? And this is a practice I was thinking about today. We can use the weather is getting warmer and warmer in the Netherlands. We work a lot with computers, so our brain is getting warmer. Some of us might have a lot of acidity in the body, so this is a easy technique to cool the body. So let's do it together. So what we do, we're gonna roll our tongue as a straw and then breathe in on a count of 5 and breathe out on a count of 5. We're gonna do it 3 times, and we're gonna imagine the air that is cooling our body, and then we put the color that is the cooling color for us. So shall we do it 3 times together? And like this with the tongue. Have fun. Oh, you froze, Carla. So Carla froze, so the line is not that good. So we do it together until she comes back. So we breathe,
I'm here.
we breathe in on a count of 5, breathe out on a count of 5. Okay, 3 times. And this is how you cool your body. You use your tongue like a straw and you get cool air into your body. So you're not gonna scream at your children or at your whoever is around you, and you're gonna cool down when you're on the edge. Because today we're gonna talk about mental health, right, Carla?
Sounds good.
About unresourceful patterns, people getting
Yes.
stuck in their stories, low self-esteem. Um, you are a specialist in this, so let's get rock and roll.
Okay. Can you hear me, everybody?
Yes.
Hi.
I can hear you now.
So
Hi,
thank
Carla.
you, Catalina. So good to see you.
Good to see you.
Uh, so, so I've been
Yeah, she's been, but she's not anymore.
I've been in New York
Yeah,
and working
s-
with clients all around the world.
she's back. Yeah, you
Yeah,
you just the line is not that best,
my
so let's see.
internet is a little, yeah. So the teletherapy or telehealth has
Yeah.
become essential to our day-to-day functioning with clients now that we have a stay-at-home orders in most of our city for sure in New York and other parts of the world. So one of the things that I've really studied for many years in human behavior is how we do get stuck in our patterns. And I found that during this time, especially, that when we're in unresourceful state, have fear really, and able
So hold on a
to
second. I
allow
stop you a little bit,
ourselves
Carla, because
to.
we lost you. So, okay. So you are mentioning when we are in unresourceful state, fear kicks in. What we are saying.
Yes, so when we are in an unresourceful state, we go back to old patterns. And unfortunately, there are circumstances beyond our control in the world currently that are forcing us to utilize the tools that we've learned, and some people are not able to pick up on those tools. So they go back to these old patterns, and it is kind of like it's a habit at these patterns. And even though they've done a lot of work on eliminating the patterns or creating new, more resourceful patterns, they actually sometimes fall back into the old ones. And in order to remind them to be present and to utilize all the tools that they've learned, we have to actually shift something. So it's the state story strategy. It's the triad that we learn about the
Uh,
shifting of physiology and. Mhm.
Yes, that's great that you say. I'm just reminding you that not everybody who's watching is in the Tony Robbins environment. So, just
Correct.
to, yes, to explain a little bit, what do you mean by state story strategy for the people that are not familiar with that, briefly?
Yes. So in order for us to change our state, whether it be an emotional state, a physical state, psychological state, we have to do something. And it comes from our understanding of a practice which is neurolinguistics. So neurolinguistics is a neurological connection to a language pattern that we have. And so, what we've learned in this neurolinguistic world is psychology, basically, where we have a triangle, if you will, and we have three different parts of this triangle. One being physiology, which is very important. Physiology meaning your physical state, and then language and focus. And
Yeah.
so, if we want to change our state in order to go from an unresourceful pattern, which we've fallen back into, let's say, because of the outside world or what's going on, we have to think about how we're going to do that. So it is actually an active activity. It is not something that's passive.
Right. So
So,
you have to
yes,
do something about it to change the way you feel.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, and what we can do is look at our physiology, look at our language, and hear our language. When I say look at it, because it is an active participation, so we are actually looking at our language and we're hearing it, but we're also going to make a change, in
Yes.
that. And and in order to now go to a resourceful place, that's the focus, right? So the first thing we want to change is our physiology, because our physiology is the easiest thing to impact.
Yes.
So, for instance, if we're in an unresourceful pattern and our mind is telling us that we're afraid, or we can't leave our house, or we can't get food, how long take sorry, if we get up and go take a walk in your house, get some water,
Yes.
what that does is it changes your focus for the moment, and you're now focused on getting up, getting the water, you drink the water. So now you can language the change that you want to make.
Yeah, and this is important because you cannot focus on two different things in the same moment. So wherever you put your focus on, your energy and focus will go in that direction, and the motion of the whole body.
Yes, and it's automatic because we
It
know how
is.
to walk, we know how to get water, so it's not something we have to think about, right? So
Yeah.
we're not utilizing our thoughts at this point. However, it shakes us up and changes our state. And then we actively make a different choice. And that is a very active
Participation.
process with
Yes.
our language on what it is we want to do. So the movement towards a resourceful pattern is we have this tool already inside of us. It's not like we have to relearn. We've already learned this. It depends where you are in the world. It doesn't matter really, because wherever we are, we've learned this. We've learned it as a child.
Yes.
We've learned how all of these things. So we can call back those tools to change our state. So now, instead of focusing on the fear of the unknown and the challenges in the world, we can focus on what can I do right now to change my state. So for instance, you might phone a friend, or you might turn on the TV, or you might actually eat
Turn
something, or
off
you
the
might
TV.
actually turn off the TV. That's correct. You know, absolutely. Yeah, you might be watching a little too much TV. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think connection is really important. Connection to yourself first, and then to those around you. I find that when you want to really become more resourceful, you have to reconnect to yourself and to your source, whatever that is for you. Some people it's spiritual, some people it's physical exercise. So I actually personally have learned how to utilize running as a way to get back to center, because my
Yes.
mind is powerful, but there are times when I really need to do something physical, which is more of an immediate impact. And you also get those beautiful endorphins when you run enough, and
Right.
you start to feel this runner's high, if you will. But
Yes.
it's this thought that comes first. So
Yes.
that there needs to be a change, and the change, physiology is always the best way, because it's the easiest. It's not something you have to learn. You can just simply get up, you can stretch, anything like that. So in order to change unresourceful patterns, we first have to actively get involved in the change.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so
delete the passiveness and get active into your life, right? So move from being a
absolutely.
spectator to being a player.
Yes, absolutely. I like that because it's very important. And also, when the thought comes into your mind that says, I can't, because this is very common with a lot of people, no matter how resourceful they are or have been. The immediate thought is, I can't manage, I can't do, I can't, change, because it's out of our control, right? And there's a lot of
Yes.
that going on right now.
Hmm.
However, you realize you do have control over your thoughts. So a very, very wise monk once said that don't let your thoughts make use of you, make use of your thoughts.
Yes.
I think I lost you there for a moment. So again, so don't let your thoughts make use of you. You need to make use of your thoughts. You have to be in control of your mind. because this is what will take you to the right resourcefulness. If you're going down that road of watching the news every night and listening to all the reports and all the doom and gloom and the horribleness, you're going to get into that pattern of, oh my God, what do I do now? And there doesn't seem to be what can you do now. Now, honestly, I will say that there are people that are dealing with family members and friends that have gotten the virus, some that have actually died from it. But if you put this into perspective in the grand scheme of the world, we've had many viruses in this lifetime. I mean, I'm 60 years old, so I mean, I've seen H1N1, SARS, and the flu every year. And
Yes.
if you understand that this is not something that's unusual, it's unusual in that it spread as quickly as it did, and we will find a way to handle it. However, if you start going down that road of, oh my God, we can't do anything, you can. You can manage your internal beliefs, your thoughts, your physiology. You can manage your outward, what you put out into the world. Because remember, I heard you say on one of your broadcasts that you're going for walks now with your husband, and it
Long
eats a
was
lot of you,
long,
right?
long, long, long,
Long
very long
ones.
one.
And I heard that your dog is not too happy, but it's very important, right? It's important for us to connect and also to find a way to distract, if you will, the noise that is
Yeah.
coming from outside.
So,
So realistically, yes, I was just going to say, realistically, you have
yep,
to
you go.
see what's happening,
Yeah.
but you need to redirect and refocus.
Right. So this is because there are many roads to go to the destination. So I think a very important skill in life to develop and be mindful about is the ability to move from being very much into the details of life and narrow focusing into changing your perspective and taking a broader look at the issue, what you're just saying, giving all these details, and getting a more broader view of what's going on. So getting perspective.
Yeah,
So moving from that narrow focus into more open focus and perspective, that's one. And then you mentioned distract also, that's another way, or do it redirecting your focus, right? So there are different ways
yes,
to deal with it. Yeah.
yes, and there's no right and wrong way.
No,
So it's whatever works.
whatever
And
works
if
for
it
you.
doesn't, yes, and if it doesn't work, what you try something else.
Yeah.
So that's that whole idea of being present and understanding what worked. So if you distracted your thoughts by getting up and getting water and you find that you're still ruminating about these thoughts, then you could do something else.
Right.
So I think it's important that we also do not stay in isolation, even though we're in isolation in our homes. We don't have
Yes.
to be in isolation in our minds, right? So
Yeah.
there are many parts of our brain that we can utilize and our body. So what I think is most important is also to reach out to others. If you're having a real struggle and you're
Yeah.
not able to unstuck yourself, if you will, reach
I
out
like.
to somebody,
Yeah, I like
somebody
this
who
one.
you know
Uh,
can just hear you,
Yeah, I'm just writing this in the chat because I really like it. Don't get stuck. Don't get I what was it? Don't stay isolated in your mind, huh?
isolate. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I really like
Because
this.
when we have the blinders on and we're focused inward, then our fear, which is
Yeah,
false evidence appearing real, right? Our fear takes over. No matter how intelligent, resourceful we
yeah,
are, we
yes,
sometimes get stuck in that place.
yes.
So we have to shake that up. We
Right.
have to find a way to shake that up.
Yeah. So stuck people come to you, right? Stuck in their story. How do you deal with
Yes,
that?
stuck in their story.
How do you
Yeah,
deal
so
with that?
the first thing when I have a new client and I have to hear part of their story because I have to understand their patterns. So the very first thing I ask them is, tell me about where you're from. Tell me about your childhood, how you were brought up. I want to get a sense of their belief system and their values, what they value. Because you're also looking for where's the pain, right? Where's the
Yes,
pain? So
Yes.
when they're stuck in something, it's usually coming from an old pain, old pattern. Sometimes it's triggered by a new event. So I think now when people are coming into mental health, it's triggered these old patterns by this COVID crisis, but it's not new. It's
Yes.
just triggering something. So there has to be a little bit of the telling of the story, but as we know, if you're stuck in the story, you're not going anywhere. So
Yes.
to move them off of that place, there needs to be a focus on where do you want to go? How do you
Right.
want to feel?
Right.
And how do you get there?
So clarity is very important to people. So how do you
Yes.
guide people to create clarity? You start with the feeling. How what do you do? Because if you ask people what do you want in life, most of the people know what they don't want rather than what they want. So what is your process to guide people to create clarity?
So it's a multifaceted. It's not just one thing again, and it depends on the individual. It depends on what they bring to me, right?
Yeah.
So really I see myself as a detective of human behavior and the mind, the thought patterns of the mind. So I
Yeah.
listen to them talk about their connections and how they connect because it's very interesting.
Yeah. Hopefully the internet in New York comes back.
I work at a clinic, I work for an organization. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
We have
we
many questions to ask, and we start off by asking, lost you again? Am I back?
yeah, you're back.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. Uh, Many questions to ask about where they're from, where they live, what do they have family? And invariably, people want to tell you how anxious they are, or how depressed they are, or what needs are not being met. And you give them a moment to reflect. And then what I say is, okay, so I know what you don't want. Now let's try to see what you do want. So if I understand you correctly, you don't want to be sad, you don't want to be depressed, you don't want to feel that you're alone in the world. So what could you do? What could you do to change that so that if the only thing that somebody does is talk to me, that's not sufficient. Because if they're doing 45 minutes a week, once a week, they have many hours that they're living their life.
And
So that 45 minutes is,
yeah.
yeah. So I utilize that time with them to give them some homework and ask
Okay.
them, what is your practice every day? What is your ritual, if you will? What do
Yeah.
you do when you get up in the morning? You know, how do you deal with the daily activities?
Yeah.
Are you responsible for other
People.
people? You know, things like that. So, yes, so there needs to be an understanding of an ongoing paying attention to what you're doing in your everyday life. And everyone, no matter what, where they're from, has to have a morning ritual and a
So
nighttime ritual.
because we
And
kind of lost
yeah,
you a little bit. So again, putting the detective hat, have a sense of curiosity. Notice what your patterns
yes.
are, what your activities, what your habits are, because habits can be very useful and can destroy us.
Hmm.
So pay attention to what you're doing and identify what's working and what it doesn't. Okay.
Yes. And then what I was saying is have some sort of rituals that you're doing outside of this, you know, weekly practice of talking to someone or doing exercise. I believe there needs to be the activity, which is maybe an hour of gratitude or exercise or connection, whatever
Yes.
that is. But
Yeah.
isolation not is not a good thing. You know, isolation, there are a lot of people right now that are finding it very hard to be alone.
Yeah. We are
So
not
that's
made to be
why
alone.
I know in New York, I don't know. No, we're social beings, right? Most of
Yeah,
us. And what happens is we're told, and it's also being told that our freedom is taken away from us so
yeah,
that we don't have a choice. But we don't have to be alone even if we're alone, because there are many ways to connect, even if it's not walking outside. You know, if people are
yeah,
afraid to go outside, they can connect via Skype, via Zoom, via, Facebook, all these modalities. They can connect on their phone.
yeah,
They could call a hotline. They can talk to a human voice. I think the human connection is
yeah. And
very
'cause we
key.
lost you
And
again, so I come up,
also
to cover.
the pets, having a dog, having a cat, having
Yeah,
something. Are you losing me again?
yeah, I lost you. So, but you are back now. So,
Yeah,
and
I don't know what's.
you can even write a letter and send a letter to somebody. Do things differently to spice up the way you approach your
Yeah, I like
activity.
that.
Do things in differently than you normally do. So then you have,
Hmm.
yeah, even more spice on this. Um, Low
Yes.
self-esteem. How would that's especially in terms of stress and demanding times. If there is low self-esteem, this bubbles up and it comes up in
Yes.
different ways. What are the ways that you see this in people, and what do you advise
So
people to do?
low self-esteem shows up in very many ways, and some of the ways that it shows up in it is in addiction. A lot of times when people have low self-esteem, they're relationship addicted, they're drug addicted, they're alcohol addicted, they find, or even seminar addicted. I mean, I know, yeah,
Food.
food addiction. And when I said also seminar, people go to connect because they're addicted to this, because they don't feel good about themselves. So they put themselves in environments in which there are other people that they could feel that they're connecting with. So I think when someone has low self-esteem, again, it's patterns. It's what they've carried with them and what they tell themselves. So you have to really look at the way they language this and what they come from. And so self esteem is a manifestation of a thought and a belief that has become a behavior. That's my belief. So when you look at these past beliefs, patterns, where you're from, your family of origin, things of this nature, then you can look at, why do people have these beliefs that they're not good enough or they can't accomplish or what have you. And you have to find something that they are resourceful in. So, and it's easy to do because everybody, no matter how they feel about themselves, has accomplished something, even by the fact that they reached out to get help. That's an
Yes,
accomplishment, right? Because
yes,
it's people that are really in a bad place that don't reach out, and the ones that do, they have the strength to ask for help, right?
yeah,
So self-esteem is a little tricky in a sense, because it really is a manifestation of all your beliefs, and it's not necessarily yours. Even though it's self, it
yes,
came from outside. So it's almost like it was given to you, and it's a belief that you have around
um,
how you've shown up in the world, right?
yeah,
So you have to show people how they are resourceful, how they are successful, how they are living their life, which is the picture of what you see, not the picture they created, if that makes sense.
yeah. Because some people suffer, and if you look at statistics, you see 70% of the population at least one time had the um, imposter syndrome. Oh,
Yes,
it's difficult for them to internalize their successes, right?
yes,
They have a great presentation. Oh no, I didn't do well. This they have this tendency of perfectionism, of fear of failure. Do you see a lot?
and
Yes.
yes, and that we're told, which is true, perfection is the lowest standard,
Standard,
right?
correct.
Because
Yes,
there is
Tony.
no perfection. you cannot be perfect. It's not possible. And
Yes,
one of the things that I love to do is I love to be out in nature and take pictures of flowers and trees, and it's a
I see.
beautiful
Yeah,
it's a reminder of how beautiful and how perfect, if you will, every single flower, every single tree, and every
exactly.
year that comes back, right?
And, and this is
So,
a, yeah,
and no matter if there's a leaf missing, if there's but it is magnificent, and each and every individual is magnificent and unique.
and
So
this is, yeah,
this imposters, I think, yeah, as you were saying, about imposter syndrome, I think that we're given a lot of messages. We're told we have to be successful, we have to make a lot of money, we have to have a nice home, we have to have a nice car, or whatever. What really is most important is we need to love ourselves. We need to look in the mirror, into our eyes, feel that. I
yeah,
believe that self-esteem comes from the belief that we're enough. And that comes from our manifestation, again, of our thoughts and beliefs from where we come from.
yeah,
So I've been very fortunate, as you have, to be a part of an environment in which we have learned a lot of ways to connect with that internal feeling of being enough. But really, in our lives, I mean, most of us search for this. And
yeah,
some of us are able to connect and say, I am enough. I don't have to have the cars that and what's really fascinating is one of the beautiful things that came out of this crisis is when you look at Italy and you see the dolphins swimming in the canals, and you see all the earth is really smiling with all the beautiful flowers and things that are
yeah,
happening. There's no pollution that was out before. And so
yeah,
you say, what's more important? So yes, you can get another job. Yes, you can get another home, but you want to connect with
yeah,
what's really important now.
yeah. And again, it's cultivating this sense of appreciation of beauty and excellence from small things and experiences states of awe. Um, and we have Lisette who says, yeah, we have to learn to observe and listen to the silence within ourselves for us to see that we can make supporting choices to live a fulfilling life. Totally agree with this. And to me, it's
Beautiful.
like I
Yes.
have meditation is my daily vitamin. You get to a place where it's
Hmm.
totally connection, and there is nobody, there is um oneness, and we are
Yes.
all the same and we are all enough, and it's a beautiful practice to explore in life. Nice.
Yes, I agree. And I really like that, what Lizette said. It's really beautiful. I think it's important to go inward and to appreciate. Very
Yes,
important. And to remind ourselves that each and every one of us is not only enough, but we are loved
yes,
internally. And so therefore we can put that out into the world. So coming back to self-esteem, if we love ourselves as we are, then our self-esteem can go up, right? It's
yes,
not a reflection from outside, it's a reflection from inside.
inside.
And that is why we have to stand guard at our mind, at our thoughts. We have to make sure that what we feed ourselves, not by food, but by thoughts, is so important. The nourishment of our thoughts and our language is more important, I think, than the nourishment of the food.
Yes. Well, actually, you have different types of nourishings. Food is only one of them. Well, time flies when you're having fun.
Yes,
It's so nice to talk to you, even with amazing technology and the Wi-Fi in New York. But it is what it is.
sorry
So
about that.
give me three things that we can leave people with to thrive in their mental health right now to help themselves. Three things.
Yeah, so one is the patterns, the unresourceful states, that we can change that by doing something actively. okay? And that can be done with our physiology, our language, or our focus. So that is a very important piece. The second thing is to stand guard at your mind, at your thoughts, and to pay attention and to really provide yourself with that acceptance so that you don't isolate the third, so you don't isolate yourself from yourself. So to stand guard at your thoughts, to pay attention that you can change your state and your focus and know that you can appreciate and love yourself.
I'm writing this. Yourself. Awesome. Reach out. Okay,
Yeah.
reach out. I made some typing error, but yeah, perfection is the lowest standard. So, hey, people have the information. Thanks a lot, Carla. And thank you, everybody, for watching
Thank
live
you.
or afterwards. Um, get the insights and go and apply them and have a beautiful life and thrive during all the times. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.